Hi, it's Chris from Stamp Blessings, and I'm really excited to be here today with a brand new technique that I have read about before, kind of tucked it in the back of my head. And then this morning I was inspired by a card I saw online that I thought, I think that this technique might work for my card. Because today I want to show you how to do a slimline card using some painter's tape, some close to my heart inks, and then I'll be using the All-Star birthday stamp set from Close to My Heart and their Star Shaker thin cuts. And you can find both of these items in the latest May-June catalog. So that's not what's on the cover. I think this is from a Cricut cut. But if you go to page 30 in the catalog, you'll find this stamp set here. And then they advertise our matching star thin cuts. And don't forget to get the foam while you're at it, because the foam and acetate make a shaker card so much easier. So those are one of the brilliant things about Close to My Heart. They have these shaker dies and then they have a matching foam. And lately they've been having matching stamp sets. So last month was, or 2 months ago, was a heart set, which I got and I've demoed. And then this catalog features the stars. So I'm really excited to get more use out of my shakers. Before I go on any further, be sure to leave a comment and let me know where you're watching from, or like the video. Hi Linda, it's so good to see you. I don't know if you've ever gotten to watch a video live, so I'm really excited. But today is the card that we're going to build, this card, and hi Melissa. So I think this is a great masculine card, but it's for any age and anyone. Just you can mix up the colors. But the secret is to get these really funky lines is to use painter's tape. And I started to think about it. If you wanted a thinner line, I think washi tape would work perfectly well too. But let me show you the trick about making this really easy card with some of the dies that we have. You want to start with a slimline card, and Close to My Heart does sell these. I just happen to have lots of business envelopes left over from, when you pay bills online or whatever. So my card base measures 3.5 by 8 inches long. So when I take a regular size piece of cardstock, I trim it so that it's 7 inches by 8, and then I just go ahead and score it and fold it down the center. I'm going to use my craft mat so that I don't worry about getting this work surface. Not that it would matter, but I think it's just going to be a little bit easier. And I'll set aside my dies because right now we're going to use the inks. In my original card, I did use the pewter ink, but I'm feeling like maybe it was a little bit dark. I'm going to try something in this card where I'm going to use the pebble. So we'll see how that turns out. So for this technique, I just ripped off a piece of masking tape or painter's tape. And the idea with painter's tape is it's not going to be so sticky as to ruin your paper when you come down on it. So I'll just flip around my ink pad and I just kind of lay my tape on it and I move it around. And you can use this tape more than once. I'm just keeping it with the ink pads. And now I'm going to just go ahead and come over here and lay it down, and I'll go ahead and massage it real quick. And I don't want to go the full length of this, but I just want to do some of it. And there you go. So this is quite a bit lighter than the pewter. I might come back. Let's see how I like it when the card is done. So I'll set that aside, and that was a pebble that I use for that. The next color I'm going to use is the Carolina. So again, I've just ripped off a piece and I'm just going to kind of ink it up, and I can move my tape up and down a little bit. And then I'm going to lay it across here, and I'm just going to walk my fingers up and down, trying not to touch the white cardstock so that I don't get any boo-boos on there. Then I'll rip it up. And the thing about our inks is they do dry lighter. So if you want to take a look, this is Carolina dried from this morning, and this is just now. So I'm confident that it's going to lighten up a little bit, which means, of course, that that pebble might get a little bit lighter too. We'll see. The next color I'm going to use is this green apple. And you don't have to be precise when you're inking these up. I think even a little bit, you know, being imprecise, well, just kind of haphazard, then your lines will always look a little bit different, which is kind of nice. All right, and then the last color, which is kind of an odd combination, is the Bluebell, which is our color of the year. In this piece, I cut a little bit smaller, just ripped it off because I just want a little bit down here in the corner. Ooh, excuse me. Wouldn't you know I have something in my throat? And I might give it here. And then just to keep things balanced, I thought I'd do a little bit up here. And again, this is just not really measuring anything, it's just going for it, which I like. So look how quickly this card base came together. I mean, it did not take much time at all. I think I'm going to leave the light color and see how I like it when it's done. So for this stamp set, we have different sentiments that you can pick, and I could even add some of these little stars. I ended up using cutout stars that I'll show you in a minute, but I think it would look cute also to stamp some of these stars in the same colored inks that I just used. But I used Hooray on my sample card, and I think what I'll do is use Make-A-Wish on this one here. Mix it up a little bit. That's definitely more birthday. And I haven't used it yet, so I'm going to go ahead and season it. And to season it, you can just rub it on the back of your skin, which I like. It's kind of a neat thing that you can do. And then I'm going to use some VersaFine because I just want a really nice dark black. And because I'm not going to be coloring over it, I don't have to worry about the ink smudging or anything. So coming down, holding it just a little bit to make sure that the ink saturates in, and pull up, and I have a great impression. Really happy with that. If you don't have our stamp chamois, they are wonderful. I just keep mine wet in a bag. I do let it dry out every once in a while after I wash it, but I just keep it wet and I can just wipe it clean, and look at how clean that is. I mean, you can see the ink comes right off, which is very nice. That way you can put away your stamps right away and not let them pile up. Are you a kind of person that lets your stamps pile up and then you have to do like a massive cleanup on the weekend, or do you like to put them away right away? I tend to unfortunately have them scattered all over the place, outside of their packages, away from their foam, and then I have to come back and sort through everything. As I'm looking at this set, I think this little star border is really fun. I could easily stamp something like that on there and not even add any stars, but I just want to show you how I made this card today, so I'm going to continue making that way, but I just wanted to show you that. I am going to go ahead and move this mat so that I don't ruin my card. And I want to wipe my fingers, and I can use that stamp sponge for the same thing. All right. So going with the dies that I have for the Star Shaker window, I use this larger die, and I'm going to use the outline, and then I'll also go ahead and use the inside piece. Now, I've pre-cut some of my papers, so I have the green apple and Carolina, and this happens to be just some die cuts with a view cardstock that I had in my scrap container, but it matches the darker bluebell kind of scarlety look. So I went ahead and used that. That just shows you that you can use really anything you have on hand. I did use another die set that I have. I have a 3-star die set, and I did use that to cut out these smaller solid dies. And then these little guys here came from the inside of the star shaker. And if you look closely, you have a solid star that cuts out, and then actually here, this is a star outline. So you have little tiny stars. You could have the solid inside piece, and then you actually have the little star outlines, which are really cool for shakers. So when you buy a die, yes, it's just over $20, but there are so many uses for this, because not only can you use them for shakers, but you can use them for many, many other things, and that's what I'll show you today. I do have a pair of tweezers because that helps put things together, and I like to dry fit my cards. So what I mean by that is I kind of lay out the way I want something to look, and because I like this look before, I'm going to pretty much replicate it, although I'm not that happy with this cluster down here. I feel like these are too even on top of each other, so as I get down to the bottom, I'm going to play with that look. But I like the green and the dark blue. I like the overlap of this blue. And then this little pop of green back down here. If you look at it, I'm almost building my card into this slim line into thirds, which I think is just appealing to the eye. And now I'm going to just add some of these little guys here. I'm not sure if I really need all this green. I have different sizes to play with. That's what makes using these tweezers nice. So if you are watching, I'd love to see where you're watching from, and leave me a little comment. I do come back afterwards. It's hard for me to follow and answer all the comments right away. And I'll be downloading this video to YouTube also, which makes it a lot of fun. So I think what I'm going to do is actually flip this around, and I think I'm going to put a bigger blue one down here, and then I want to put a dark blue right here so that I kind of mix that up. And now let's see, I guess one more dark blue up at the top, but it'll be a smaller one. So again, my tweezers really make that easy to do. And I think instead of doing that cluster like I did before, I kind of like that layout. So I'll set the rest aside. And now I just need to start gluing this down, which is a little bit tedious for you to look at, so I apologize. I'm going to just leave that there so I know where to tuck it. I like to make things easy to find later. And then nice. I'll go ahead and hold this together and try not to use too much glue. This is the aqua glue that dries pretty clear. I haven't had too much trouble with it. So it looks like I might have had a little bit of, I was disconnected for just a minute, so hopefully I've reconnected. Sorry for that glitch. Welcome to my world here with technology. That happens at school too sometimes, where we get a little bit kind of glitchy, as the kids say. I'm glitching, but it's so cute. We have just this last week is, and then school will be out on Friday, so that's kind of exciting. I might have a little more time to craft, which I'm looking forward to. So look at how quick this card is coming together. I think once you have an idea, that of course makes it super easy. but it really, just a few die cuts. If you don't have thin cut dies and you had a Cricut or a Silhouette, you could definitely use that. My stars are lifting, but I'm going to go ahead and set those under a block in just a minute, or my ink pads are quite heavy and I can do that. So I almost lost this guy, but just in the nick of time I grabbed him. So, and after this is dried completely, I can just take my scissors and flip it around and trim it off. And so you can see I made quite a mess actually on the card by not wiping off my mat and keeping it on it too long. So don't make my error. Go ahead, because this card stayed nice and clean. So somehow by fiddling with it too much on camera, I managed to get some stuff on the back. But that's okay. I can just cut a white panel and add that to it. But here I can just snip off the extra pieces. And what I would do is just set this under a couple of ink blocks to let it dry. So I'll set that aside, and I wanted to show you one more card that I made this morning. I mentioned that I felt like this card was developed in thirds. Well, I had the You Are Enough papers and dies out, and so I was working on this card, and I had originally envisioned having 1, 2, and 3 of these little fun decorations with the butterflies, but then I had this scrap that just fit perfectly, and I thought, you know what, I think I'm going to do it in thirds, but I want my sentiment in the middle. So I stamped the You Are in scarlet to match this, or actually it isn't scarlet. I'll have to go look it up. But anyway, and then I kept the sentiment in black. And then a couple years ago we had decorative dies for borders from Close to My Heart, and I pulled those out and I added a little detailed die stitching there, which I really, really like. So anyway, if you're working on a slimline card and you're really not sure how to go about it, I think building it into thirds really works well for this size. So there you have it. Oh, I appreciate you tuning in today to watch my Monday motivation. I hope this gave you some inspiration to pull out some of your dies, to check out your painter tape. It doesn't take a lot and you can reuse it. I'm saving it just here on top of my ink pads, and actually it's probably already clean because all the ink came, so I could use it for different colors and then it won't go to waste. So thanks for the heart emoji. I appreciate your comments, your emojis. Go ahead and like my video, and I'll be back next week with another really fun idea. I've got some ideas in the works and I can't wait to share them with you. Have a great day. Bye.